We are finally starting to recognize the importance of putting ourselves higher on the priorities list in life. We are under constant pressure to be an active participant in life, which means that our physical bodies are carrying us through those to-dos, the shoulds, the needs that we have. And some of us have a way more physical existence. So delivery drivers, construction workers, jobs that really demand a lot of your physical body. And yet there are a lot of people who have a more mental existence, like social workers and editors and writers and web design. So we're constantly going through life, and every job that every person has is meeting people's needs. Think about it for a second. A manager is meeting the needs of people above him or below them. A writer is meeting the needs of someone to just escape for a little while. They want to, whether you're a writer for a newspaper or a magazine or some kind of book, whether you're into fantasy or reality, whatever kind of book is being written, you are writing so that somebody can then pick that book up and escape real life for a little while and enjoy whatever it is that has been written. Parents are meeting the needs of children. Partners are meeting each other's needs. Children playing outside are meeting the needs of each other because kids need to socialize. They need to connect. They need to gab and laugh. And just being in school or just hanging out as a child, you are still meeting both your needs to be loved and connected to, as well as someone else's to connect to you and love. Even somebody in assisted living is meeting the needs of someone because someone needs a job, and maybe that job is they just need to be serving someone else. They need to be helping somebody else, and assisted living is where they land because that is a passion of theirs, helping people through life, the different phases of it. When you think about it, even going home at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is cook dinner, whether it be for yourself or the other people living in the house. And yet your body has physical needs. It needs food and it needs rest. And so you cook and you do the dishes and you finally get to curl up in bed at the end of the day just so that you can turn around and do the entire thing over again the next day. So you're serving yourself, you're serving those around you, you're serving in your job, and the concept of self-care or serving of self has been labeled as indulgent and a waste of time. And it has a lot of guilt that is associated with it because people think that you're not supposed to do that, you're supposed to be doing something else. And I think that we should change that. I think we all need a shift in reality and understanding and ownership. I think that putting ourselves on that priority list means that we are not only improving ourselves, but improving the lives of those around us. So I feel like 2021 is a huge opportunity. We are exiting 2020, and 2020 has been such a challenge. It has been so overwhelming and difficult. And it's really given us an opportunity to stop and breathe and see what's really important to us, what really matters, those things that we crave, those things that we truly need, whether it's those moments of quiet introspection and you've enjoyed being able to be removed from people and society, or maybe you're someone who really desperately missed having those connections. 2020 has allowed us to kind of tune in a little bit. And I think that we all have this opportunity to feed those needs, to come into alignment, to come into understanding of what really means the most to us and how do we really feel best and how can we bring our best us forward for the world to see. So coming through 2020 and having this very introspective time where we are overwhelmed from the frustration, we feel very held down. What can we do to lift ourselves up? What can we do to make ourselves feel better? What can we do to make our state of being more positive and enjoyable than where it has been? And so if we do that, if we decide to change our focus, if we decide to open up and say, hey, I am important, then, and we start to feed those needs that we recognize we have as we move into 2021, and as we start to open up more and we're able to be around more people and we're able to connect and we're able to live life the way that we want to, that we are living the way that most benefits each of us in our own journey, our own path, because what works for me doesn't necessarily work for the next person. We are all so very, very unique. So if I take my self-care seriously and I make sure that I have what I need, then in 2021, as things start to open up and I start to feel freer, I will still be able to honor where I was at and what I need so that I can continue to feel better and more alive and more vital in the way that I live. So taking little steps now to understand ourselves, to open up, to find clarity means that we can carry that forward and we can have a complete shift and a new change and a new way of living in our truest, most authentic way possible. I believe that the biggest part of self-care is just adding intention behind whatever we're doing. The intention means that we value our mind, we value our heart, we value our bodies, we value our spirits enough to nurture them. And we change it from guilt to empowerment, from shame to ownership, and from discomfort to peace. So let me give you an example. Life can be absolutely chaotic, and sometimes we just want to run away. So maybe you're at a company party, maybe you're in a business meeting, maybe you're at home and it's all just crazy nuts, and you really need a minute. You need a minute to ground, to shake off everything else, clear your mind, take a deep breath, and the only way you can do that is to run away. So you run into the bathroom because none of your coworkers are going to bother you when you're in there. And usually kids don't, well, sometimes they do. And sometimes they'll leave you alone when you're in the bathroom. So you run away because you want to give yourself that break. You can turn around, and if you add a little bit of intention to that running away, instead of running from, you've now decided to embrace and run to. So you need that break, you need that clarity, you need that moment of peace. And you say, I'm just going to give this to myself. And at work, instead of hiding in the bathroom, maybe it's, hey, I just need a minute. And you go for a walk around the block, or you go to the break room and make some tea, or you go play a game of solitaire because you just want that one little moment for yourself to be able to balance things out instead of being frustrated and overwhelmed. It's a moment of self-care. It's also a teaching tool because letting people around you know that you need a moment, it shows ownership, but it also shows people that it's perfectly okay to own yourself. It's perfectly okay to say, I just need this minute and I need a break. And whether you set a timer for 5 minutes so that people know when you're coming back, or you just acknowledge your own inner time clock, it says, I am worth it, I am valued, I get this moment, and I'm just going to take it, which just gifts so many people around you the same thing. Some people have asked me, how do I start self-care? What do I do? What steps do I take? And my advice is, look at what you already do. So you want to put yourself on the priority list. You want to shift things a little bit. You want to make sure that you are better mentally and spiritually, emotionally, physically. You want to be more grounded and centered. So what do you already do for yourself? Do you really love that long hot shower in the morning? Or maybe you prefer a cold shower. Do you really enjoy that first bite of breakfast? Maybe you love cooking. Perhaps you love playing solitaire and that's just kind of your own little gift. There are a lot of things that we already do in our day-to-day lives which are self-care, and yet we don't necessarily acknowledge them as self-care. So the first thing you can do is stop, and as you go through your day, pay attention to, I did that almost subconsciously, And yet it made me feel a lot better. I really found enjoyment out of that. And I feel improved because I took that chance for myself. So you write that down, and that's self-care. And the next time that you do it, you think, I'm doing this intentionally for self-care. And you become more aware of what you are giving to yourself and how your cup is being filled and how you have a little bit more to give to other people because you are giving to yourself. So start simple. Start with what you're already doing and then build on it from there. Add a little bit here, add a little bit there, and make sure that you're checking in. Tune into what your inner self needs. Your body's going to tell you, your mind is going to tell you, your heart is going to tell you, hey, I need a little bit of this. I need a little nudge. I need a little peace. I need a little activity. Let's go for a run, or let's go connect with nature. Whatever that moment is for you as far as self-care goes, whatever it is that brings you peace, that is self-care. You're already doing it. We're just adding an intention behind it to say, I am worth it. I value myself, and I value those people that are around me as well. So I say we all learn to honor our inner voice so that we can learn to listen and know what we need, what our truest self in our hearts needs. And by so doing, we are giving compassion to ourselves. We're giving compassion to those who are around us, which means that we're also encouraging ourselves and those around us to give ourselves just a moment every day of self-care and peace.